Hello, and welcome back to Night Cheese Book Club. We are your hosts. I am Suzanne.
And I'm Presley.
And here today we will be talking to you about the amazing Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison.
Yes. Right before we started, I was thinking of that when in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, when he's like, the nun part, when he's like, roll. When they're in the movie part, I was about to do that.
The newest Pee-wee?
No, the old one. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Why have I blocked out that?
You tell it's maybe the same reason you're wearing earrings and headphones.
That's my business.
I'll be honest, I have no idea why.
Listen, guys, you'll get it. You can tell from my voice that I'm wearing hoop earrings, right?
No. What on earth? No. And if anything...
You just know.
Well, just know I'm judging you for it. But also the bobby pins that I happen to be wearing with these headphones are also stabbing my head.
You just wear the hoop to the side, and you're good.
Good comedy. I don't know, it looks weird.
You're weird.
Painful.
So, what are we on? We are season 1, episode 4 already. My, how the time flies.
It sure does. Manically.
Manically
When
flying
I
by,
describe it.
especially. So, what we've been up to. I've been working.
I think we all have, and I mean, luckily, you know, it's... I don't even know what I'm saying. You know what? I hate working. I hate it. It's stupid.
Honestly, working is done. This is fun.
It's stealing my soul.
Yeah. Okay, so my work is ghoulish, I'll say. It is horrible often to work in a hospital. And
Ghoulish sounds so dramatic, but also pretty
in a word.
Yeah.
In 2 words. Ghoulish garbage.
Whoa.
But it's also so hilarious.
Yeah.
And I really adore my coworkers, so I'm going to still count it as a yes for being there. Don't tell the hospital, though.
Yeah.
I'm playing hardball.
Not to sound dramatic, but it's like if all of the literal dumbest people I know all got together and started a company.
That's where you work?
That's where I work. And like,
sounds dangerous.
they're all like, oh, you need this part, and then they bump heads, and then they all forget, and I just go, you know what, never mind.
You know what? You should give them heavy machinery.
And they do. And that guy who drove the forklift into the wall the other day, shout out. Yeah.
Way to go, Corey.
He's Corey. No, I'm not gonna
That's
say
for
his name,
HIPAA.
but he's asked me to dinner several times.
Wow. How could you turn him down?
Ooh.
You should offer to drive, though.
I'm gonna show up with my boyfriend.
Say, buy us both dinner.
Yeah. He'll have the chicken parm.
Well, to put terrible things behind us and move on to wonderful things, like reading and Such Sharp Teeth specifically, and our topic today, feminine rage.
I'm feeling it.
Well, I'll take a slice of that. So, jumping right into it, this is, oh gosh, maybe the 4th book? The 3rd or 4th book by Rachel Harrison. I know that she's done a lot of short stories, just a short story collection.
But it's all happened quite fast because this was published October 2022, so that wasn't even that long ago. And like, she has so many bangers that like,
Man, she's great.
yeah,
Honestly, listen, not to fangirl completely, but all of her content is so cool. She just seems like the raddest chick.
yes.
Her aesthetic is on point.
Her stories are fun.
Her stories are so fun. It's always about topics that I love. Like, come on, like crystal balls and like Ouija boards, but also like female friendship.
Yeah, just like the funny but also spooky. Who doesn't love that combo?
Who doesn't
And,
like, that's the best combo.
I can't wait till she goes on tour because I will absolutely go to an author
Yes.
signing for her. I bet she's the nicest person.
If I didn't have to
Or if you're
save
not, my
lives,
dreams are crushed. Rachel.
maybe, listen,
Rachel,
I don't want to
please.
know. I'm just going to continue thinking what I think, which is that she's great
Okay.
and that we're best friends.
Right.
It's fine. But yeah, she does, she has so much stuff coming out. Everything that I've read of hers is like, 4 stars and above for me.
Definitely. She's definitely someone to pick up, especially if it's, a lot of them are a quick read too. So
Yeah.
like, I like that where you can It's a good book between like long books. It's a good book if you're just going somewhere for like the weekend. It's a good book if you're traveling. It's
Like
peppy.
entertaining.
Yes.
Quick.
That's so true. It gets your mind off of the boring. It definitely sucks you in.
Kudos, Rachel. So, she is in upstate New York, which is so on brand.
Yeah, and
She's a cat lady.
Hmm.
Her newest book, Black Sheep, I think it's called,
that
will
didn't
be
even,
out in the fall.
Yeah, that didn't even come out yet. I'm very excited.
Yeah, we're super excited. She is definitely in the category of automatic buy.
Yes, definitely now. And like, even I listened to this one, surprise, surprise, on Audible. But I like the narrators that are picked for all of these. They're definitely, I haven't heard one that I didn't like, so I'm definitely liking that one. So, yeah, there's a cat trying to break
If
into
you
this
hear
room.
a rapping at the window, it's my cat, who is very angry that she cannot be on the podcast.
It's
but
not a pervert.
she's a small tabby tornado, and
She's angry.
it's for everyone's best
Yeah,
interest that
this
we keep
is-
her out.
Our new setup scenery.
Oh yeah, listen, everyone, don't judge Presley if you're watching this on the YouTubes, but isn't it better to be at my house with me?
Judge. What? Because
You don't have to decide now.
Because I wasn't in a trailer, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
They just know that now they're in a real house
You know what? Shout out to
without tin walls.
Shout out to all my trailer girlies out there. I know we won't make it if there's a tornado, but
A tornado of tabby.
by gum, just a regular one.
Any tornado,
But
really.
we're a hardy person. You know what? And frankly, I'm looking to this squelching summer coming up.
So to get
There
into
wasn't a bee in my room last night.
listen, keep your
All the
problems to
tapes.
yourself. Bottle that, okay? To summarize the plot briefly, so again, our podcast is majorly attempting to be spoiler free.
Yes, well,
We don't want this to be something where you have to definitely listen to the book or read the book before you listen to an episode. I think that you should be able to listen to the episode regardless, and it might even kind of sway you or show you if you'd like the book a little bit more or not.
And like, I absolutely hate spoilers, so like any information given out is like, I think spoil free, because like if I even smell a spoiler.
Listen, as women, we are naturally detectives,
And
and if any kind of clue is placed in front of me,
I'll know it.
I cannot stop
Yeah.
my brain from figuring that shit out,
If
or
it-
at least attempting, and then blindly believing whatever I decide.
And then it's ruined. Throw it out.
It's ruined. Throw it away. Synopsis of our book. We have the main character, Rory. She is a city girl who temporarily has to move back home to her small town.
Ouch.
Ouch. That's embarrassing. Is it though?
Except if you live in your hometown.
I don't, from
Something comforting about home.
going from somewhere living more city-y to somewhere more rural, I definitely like the more rural, but I think that it's a matter of personal preference.
I like that.
You don't like, listen, maybe
Do I want to
if
see
you
somebody
were-
from high school? Absolutely not.
I don't want to see somebody. Well, that's the beauty of, you got to go to a different small town. Yeah,
Yeah, and
it
then you,
depends on the person.
you're the mysterious stranger.
That's why you always wear a 10-gallon hat, right? And a mustache.
With a gun under it.
And a gun. 2 guns. Rhinestone guns. Rory moves temporarily back home. I think it was to help her twin sister, right? Who is a
I feel
newly...
like I wrote a pretty good one, but
Man, mine's all over the place.
See,
Alright,
no,
let's hear what you got.
I read a good one. This one, Rory moves back to her hometown to help her pregnant twin sister who's estranged from the baby's father. But then Rory is attacked by an animal, but then eventually finding out that she's a werewolf and how that all unfolds.
I like that.
Yeah, I think it tells you enough that if you want to listen to it, which you should,
You should.
go right
I
now.
think that the
No, wait,
perfect
listen to
description...
the rest of this and then go.
I think that, listen, don't put anyone before us in your life ever.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know what you have to do to your parents, but get them out.
Don't say that.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
That was a gun under my hat.
They could hear that happening.
I pulled out my
Just heavy
bobby.
breathing.
I pulled out my bobby pin.
It's kind of like a weapon.
It's just pain.
In the right hands, it is a weapon. It's more dangerous than a gun. That's not true. I really liked, somebody described this as Hallmark horror, which I think perfectly sums it up, especially her previous book, Cackle. Perfect description. Where it's, you know, it's still interesting. I mean, I guess it depends how much you like Hallmark, which I don't really even watch that much Hallmark.
I don't either, but it's still like...
But, like, you want something
it's
cozy-ish.
Yeah, you know it's going to be cozy. You know it's going to be like... I remember I was in a very seedy hotel one time with my ex, and it was kind of a scary neighborhood.
I didn't mean to do cheering.
That's the applause. It's kind of that. It's kind of that one. But we were in the seedy hotel, or it was a motel, and I completely forgot where I was going with this.
You were very upset, and you put on a Hallmark movie, and somehow it enveloped you, and
that's what it was.
Murder, She Sconed.
There was the first channel he put on. There was like a bunch of like army stuff going on with like guns and this and that. And he changed it to Hallmark, and later he was like, I thought that more gunfire would upset you, so I changed it. And by gum, it
makes a difference.
It calms you down.
It really does. So,
if you did one thing right.
I think that it is really, I think that this book is going to speak to millennial women specifically.
Yeah.
It's by millennial women, for millennial women. But just, it is something that's actually engaging and entertaining while also bringing up like topics that need to be discussed.
Yeah, like, so getting into the serious notes of it, where you find out things about, you know, like these characters, where it's like the metaphor of being a werewolf and transforming and stuff, and like what makes someone a monster is like really a huge part of this book. And like you really have to think about like, why does a person feel like that they're a monster, or that like, you know,
that
they're hurting others on purpose or accidentally or what have you.
And just to round that into the topic of not even just feminine rage, but just like living, you know, as a female person, like there is so much that is just put onto you, that is expectations and like perceived ways of being. I don't know if anyone's ever read this is going to be a very obscure reference, the John Berger art book called Ways of Seeing, in which one of his essays he muses that a man walks into a room and thinks how much power he has on the people around him, whereas when a woman walks into a room, she assesses her attractiveness to the other people in the room. And I think that even, you know, in luckily we're going to a more enlightened time where that's less of an automatic. It's still there. There is still so much put on like the way that you look or the way that you're supposed to act,
and your value from it.
Yeah, and it's just like,
ooh. And like what service you can provide to others.
But things change in time, I think for the better, where you have the freedom to be feminine if you want to be, and that you can, you know, do whatever you want with it, but that it doesn't need to be in relation to other people. It can just be like your own expression of yourself.
Yeah. Well, even those kinds of terms, like these gendering terms, I think are really becoming different definitions, and like more of definitions of what it should be, where it's like, it's not excluding people, it's like these like positive traits that like make you a human being, instead of like making you just, I don't know, like just
like putting you in relation to other people.
Yeah, yes, really, like it's like you as a person instead of like your value in society. Another thing about this book that I really liked was the mom's role in it. I thought that was really good, especially with like the backstory and stuff. I think that a lot of people, especially millennials, can relate with that, and just how like the older generation of women were so suppressed and so like they didn't talk about things, and like stuff like that. Like, I think that was very relatable in this book, and I really liked that, just because, like,
Be careful, mother listens.
I know, and you've got to squeeze that information out of her. Squeeze it out.
But, I mean, yeah, even as somebody who deals with the public pretty regularly, like, you hear a lot of really sad stories from women from older generations of just, like, traumatic things that happened to them that they were either, like, too afraid to tell anyone about, or just that they put onto them and blame themselves for so much.
Yeah, or and they feel like they say it and then they go, oh well, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible.
It's very deep.
I know, I'm like, that's trauma.
Yeah.
That's like some big T trauma, and you laughed, and that's scary.
That steak-sized splinter has been in there a long time, Betty.
Certainly. I really liked the different sort of lifestyles of the different women in this book as well. I think it's absolutely relatable to a lot of it, especially going from the Rory to the Scarlet. Especially as you get older, once you read it, it'll make sense. But, like, I really like that too, where you can see the transformation of these people. As a Scorpio, man, me loves the transformation. So,
I mean, definitely. Like, I think that it shows different places of where you are in your life, and that even if you're dealing with not necessarily like an incredibly toxic relationship with a parent or like a relative or even like a friend, like that there are a lot of interesting dynamics for women, and that they can change over time.
I was literally about
so
to say
that you might feel really reactionary when
Yes.
you're 18.
Actually, but even in, like, this book where she's like, I'm not even the same person I was when I came here, where it's
Yeah.
like, you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. If you feel like within the last month that you've grown, you've grown.
Yeah.
You've changed, and that's okay. You're allowed to change. People are allowed to change.
Honestly, it's great.
If anything, yes, more people, like, you educate yourself and you change. That's
I mean,
good.
if you want to. I feel like,
It's a
I
good
mean,
thing.
man, I feel like I just putting an ounce of work into trying to, you know, absorb self-help sorts of things and just like interesting psychology
Yes.
and always just trying to kind of better myself a little bit. Like, I feel like every 2 months I am a better version of myself.
Definitely. I think that's important. And, like,
But
being
that
very
you can
self-aware.
handle it with grace, that even when you're dealing with somebody from a different generation whose opinions are going to be completely different than you, like, handle it with grace, because it's okay that everyone has different opinions.
Yes, and especially, like, we were talking about the older generation being, like, I mean, you have to remember who raised them too, you know, and that, like, it's,
Life was different.
yes, and that, like, we shouldn't punish them and be like, oh, well, you don't like me, so I'm going to be mean as revenge. Like, no, you have to be understanding, because,
That's
like,
so
they had a hard time
literally
too. They're still having a hard time.
superseding everything, even gender. It's just like, be
Yes.
kind to the people around you. Give them a little bit of grace.
If they're
Honey,
deserving.
take a deep breath. Look at some clouds. Everything, you know, can feel pretty crappy, but it will eventually be okay. Probably. And if it's not, what does it matter, right?
Transform again.
Yeah.
Leave town. Start a new life.
I thought you were going to say start a fire.
You
A
can
fire
start
or a life.
You know what? Start the
Your
fire
choice.
before you leave. Just kidding.
You'll need warmth for your new life.
Yeah.
But to also circle back to your first point, and I think the obvious go-to with a book like this, not specifically for lycanthropy, but just for, like, you know, anything female-centered that has, like, these, like, visceral changes, the metaphor of the changes is just really powerful. It's just, after the fact, it's so obvious that it makes it like, oh, of course, like, you know, being a lady is also kind of like being a werewolf. But, hello, Shara, welcome. She made
Yes,
it
if you've experienced werewolf hunger, the period of werewolf hunger.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to all of us. And just sometimes it's okay to be hungry, like a deep, visceral hunger.
Sometimes I'm hungry for a milkshake, and there's nothing I can do to stop myself.
And you shouldn't.
Well, it's that part of I wish someone could chain me until I get like a day later where I'm like, oh, I don't want to poop my pants.
Or ration consider.
Mm-hmm.
Rationale.
Yes.
Reason. Ration.
I ration with myself.
I don't know. It's been a long work weekend.
So I would like to bring up, obviously, just, this book I feel like does touch on a lot of good serious topics, but also the fact that it is a funny book too. And like, I just want to talk about werewolves for a little bit because I thought it'd be funny. So it's just going to be a little thing of who you think would win in a fight.
I like this.
So the first one would be, okay, so it's who would win in a fight, or would you rather just see them kissing? This one's Jacob Black versus Remus Lupin.
I mean,
In their werewolf forms, because I feel like Lupin is slapping with those arms.
he's
Slapping.
jangly.
Yeah.
He's a jangly werewolf. Of course Jacob Black would win. He's just a strong, giant wolf.
He's a strong, supple boy.
And he has the anger of youth.
Oh, he sure does.
Yeah. Lupin would be like, I don't care that much. Plus, he always hates himself a little bit for being a werewolf. I think he would just let death come to him.
You always have that rage. The next one is Alcide Herveau from True Blood versus Fenrir Greyback.
I really like Alcide, and he was a great pack leader. There were some weird moments later, but if we're going like OG Alcide, I don't know. Fenrir Greyback is so evil.
He's evil. Okay, what if we also throw Debbie in there?
She just makes it messy.
She can't fight. She's just yelling.
As a wolf, she rips apart a pack of cools. That wolf's got cigarettes.
yeah. Somebody sneaks a cigarette onto Fenrir, and Debbie finds it.
She bites a can of Aquanet, and it becomes a missile and takes them all out.
Perfect. Okay, the Debbie wins.
Obviously, that's what would happen.
Okay, this is Teen Wolf Scott Howard or David Kessler from American Werewolf in London.
I'm gonna say American Werewolf in London is gonna win the
also,
fight.
yeah.
It's just he's got that like very animalistic instinct to kill.
Because that's like European werewolf.
He's not playing basketball.
Yeah, American werewolf, lazy.
Yeah, he just wants your intestines. Yeah,
He just wants to play
but
basketball.
he did win
And
for the team.
He's so
I
athletic.
don't know how sports work.
All right, then those two they'll just kiss.
Right.
I also, and feel free to Google female werewolves, but maybe don't, because I'm not kidding.
A lot of weird drawings.
The first couple of things were like some articles.
Fuzzy boobs.
The rest were fuzzy boobs. There wasn't even articles. It was just weird
Someone
drawings.
take these kids' colored pencils.
It got weird, and I was at work too, and I was like, well, I'm gonna close this out.
I am going to search that on a work computer and leave it up.
Yeah,
Listen, this is if somebody leaves their computer open near me, that's what I'm going for.
Oh yeah, you gotta I remember I was at the bar and this old man would not leave me alone, and he was being such a creep, and then he kept trying to show me videos on his phone that I guess he was like, these are funny, and I'm like, they're not funny. Also, no, and so, hey, could you take this person out?
Cat break.
So he gave me his phone to watch these videos, and he went to the bar for another drink. I got to Googling. His algorithm's gonna be weird. I hope the police showed up at his house. If people give you their phone, you type in, you know what? First one, werewolf boobs. Type it
Werewolf boobs, and then post it to their Facebook.
Yeah, for all of them to see their shame.
And tag their family members.
Yeah, because you'll know all of them instantly.
And if this happens to someone that I know, then I'm just going to say now that it was not me.
Right, it wasn't me either. I also liked the werewolves from What We Do in the Shadows.
We're not werewolves. We're not swearwolves.
No, we are werewolves, not swearwolves.
What we do in the shadows is so funny.
So funny.
I haven't watched the show yet.
I
I'm
haven't
saving
either.
it for a time when I can watch it.
But I see people are going wild online, especially if it's like that niche thing of like people liking it.
Oh yeah, and Jermaine.
Yeah, ooh.
Or should I say? That was spot on.
Yeah, you had to go under werewolf pervert.
You know, I did hit a dog yesterday,
A
and then
Ruga.
it bit me.
It was that bear. I think it just finally breaks down to the, and I know we'll probably touch back on this topic, but if you had a choice between being a werewolf or a vampire,
Oh my god, is that even a question?
I feel like it says what kind of person you are, and like two vampires got to be together and two werewolves got to be together.
I don't know about that, because I would say that I am full vampire.
Oh yeah.
But Phil has such an Alcide personality.
God, is he werewolf? Maybe he's werewolf.
You can break boundaries.
Sure. You know what? Maybe.
I think that you would be more conflicted, but you would end with vampire.
I'd end with vampire, absolutely. But yeah, like I feel like it'd be awesome to be a werewolf just because I love eating and what did you say? Voiding in the woods.
Don't make voiding a thing.
I love howling at the moon.
Moonlight is nice.
Yeah. So I think it'd be a good life, but you know, we'll touch back on that. You know what? We'll ask that question yet again when it comes up again, and we'll touch base. So.
All right, and then to move on to the next scheduled part of our program.
This was scheduled.
It's always scheduled.
Yeah.
Everybody waits for the haiku.
True that.
Here we are, haiku time. This is when we will read you a haiku themed around the book or topic and what cheese we would pair it with.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that so slowly. Do you want to?
Cheese.
Do you want to go first, or shall
I'm gonna go first.
All right, go.
Mine is a bit of a fangirl moment.
But you gotta read it. I feel like old timey because I just.
Oh, Rachel Harrison. I had to make that fit. Oh, Rachel Harrison. Another great one. I am seen and entertained.
Hark!
Hark.
What a weird.
Hear ye. The cheese that I would pick with this, I went with provolone. I'm going to go with a deli sliced provolone. A little on the nose. It looks like a moon. Didn't go for Swiss. I know that's obvious, but
cheese.
I feel like provolone's got more of a moon texture. I know that it's cold rocks, but in my mind it's a waxy.
I feel like moon cheese would be more of a moon texture, but
we're not going for directly on the nose.
but I just know for the record I disagree with the provolone.
But flavor-wise, I think that it's likable, but it's got some edge to it.
Yeah, for your opinion.
Pairs well with many things, many moods.
Well, I guess that brings to my turn.
All right, let's hear your haiku.
Do we have another sparkle? Okay. How into said dark, beautiful moon-drunk monster am I friend or foe?
Wow, that was very poetic.
Thank you.
That was very poetic of you.
I'm not kidding. I wrote it at work, and I'm giggling to myself, and I'm picturing my coworker just looking at me, typing out strange poems, and then I'm like, "Ooh, that sounds good. I'm a poem master."
I think that more people should manically write little poems on their phones and things.
And I found strange poems at work. You know what? I'll post some of those to the Instagram. Some weird notes that I found before of strange poems, and I was kind of weirded out, honestly. So yeah, you know what? I'll be weird too. I went with, and mine's a bit for a funny haha, but I went with Munster. but I also, because it's like stinky, like a dog.
I could see that. It does have a bit of wet dog to it.
And I like it.
Yeah. It's got waxy moon,
Yummy,
wet
yummy.
dog. Good choice.
So this is our.
This is the end of our segments.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a grazie and goodbye. So what are you a grazie for this week,
This week,
Susan?
not to just go with themes constantly, even though I love a theme. I said, it was Mother's Day. I'm thinking how grateful I am for my mom.
And like,
She's so freaking rad.
no
Susan,
brag, guys.
this isn't just
the
brown
best.
nosing, but she helps me so much. She goes out of her way to help me and my people.
Yeah, both of us.
And
Oh my God, she helps me so much.
she's so funny. And really, I mean, she just, as a single mom, she worked so hard to make us great.
Yeah, she loves her
And
kids and never
really,
stops.
Yeah, imparted such like good qualities in us and made us like strong, independent people.
Absolutely, she's such a good person.
And she will say something completely inappropriate in a very like mild setting,
Mm-hmm.
and the giggles that must be contained are painful. Truly,
it's a chortling, an evil chortle.
it's an evil chortle, and I love that for her.
But,
What are you grateful for this week?
I actually, because I was sitting there writing my poem, I was going to say I'm grateful for my job. It pays the bills. To be honest with you, it's really not that bad. It's probably the best job I've ever even had. I like the majority of my coworkers. Everybody's cool. It's an easy job. I like what I'm doing. And you know what? It affords me to pursue this kind of stuff. So, you know what?
That's true.
I'm not gonna, even like when people rag on the manager, I don't think he's that bad. Hot take.
Honestly,
He's always
and
nice
like,
to me.
who wants to be a manager? Like, people who pick that job, man, that's a tough job to take.
Yeah, and he's trying, guys. Come on.
Especially if it's not somebody who's like cut out to be a manager, where
That's
you're just
him.
like,
He's too nice, but
you're really trying, and this is painful for all.
it's appreciated. So, but that's what I'm grateful for.
That's really nice. All right, well, you can join us on our next episode, which I think is actually going to be the aforementioned Addie LaRue.
Oh
No, Big Swiss first.
yeah.
Right?
What are you doing? Yes,
One day
our
things
next
will be in order.
Our next one's gonna be Big Swiss, so definitely
Oh man, Big Swiss.
absolutely great. So check it out. And then after that, Addie LaRue, which that's your heads up because Addie LaRue is a little bit of a longer one. So put that in your schedules.
Write
Everybody.
it down. Right. Stop what you're doing.
Yeah,
Pull the
no,
car
no.
over and
Wait,
write
wait,
this down.
Wait till the end of this.
Wait till the end.
Submit a review if you want. Pretty please.
Like it, download it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then go read these books, all right?
Do it.
Pretty please. Well, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. We will see you next time.
Yeah, go read a book.
Bye.